This is Growing Your Firm, the podcast for ambitious accountants and firm owners who want to work smarter, grow faster, and lead better. Hey, Growing Your Firm community, David here. Really excited to be dropping some recordings from our prior Growing Your Firm Summit. We had over 600 people register for it. It was in December last year. We're doing another one this year, but we thought, wow, there was such great content. Let's share it with the Growing Your Firm community. So this is a special content drop of some of the sessions from the Growing Your Firm Summit. Enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome to the final Growing Your Firm Summit. I think we're in for a real treat. We're going to talk about the future of the profession roundtable. I have a little intro that's written up over here, so I'm going to talk about it in a second, but let's just go around the horn. I've been asking everybody, where they're at in the world, and it usually is divided into snow or no snow. So, Jen, where are you at, and is it snowing, yes or no? And then we'll go Daniel and Randy.
Bellevue, Nebraska, and it's not snowing, but we have snow on the ground. We had a storm Friday.
Okay, so snow has landed. Snow has landed.
Yeah, and it's been bitter, horrible, cold to keep it on the ground since then.
We have tropical Washington, D.C. coming up in your future. So there you go.
You're right.
Daniel, how about you?
I'm in New York, and we're waiting for snow. We're expecting snow. They keep telling us it's going to be terrible, but it hasn't started
yet. There you go. Well, we were talking with somebody, Anderson, earlier in Toronto. He said there's a blizzard that was happening. So maybe heading
probably
your way.
Its way south.
Yeah, that's right. Randy, how about you?
Well, as you can probably see, I'm in a hotel right now. So I'm in San Antonio. No snow, although I was in Chicago, where the suburbs where I lived last week, and lots of snow.
All right, so you kind of get it. You kind of get it all. Well, I'm excited for this conversation. We're diving into the future of accounting with three people who have lived and breathed this industry every single day. First up, Daniel Hood, editor-in-chief at Accounting Today and one of the most respected voices in accounting media. He's been guiding this profession for years, and even once wrote a guidebook to New York City. Is there an Amazon link, Daniel? Can we get?
It should be up there. I think it's out of print now because I wrote it in 2004, and fully half of it is out of date now. All the restaurants and bars that were in it all closed. But the history part of it's good. It should be, if you look it up, Unknown City, New York. It should.
All right, I love it. And we have Jennifer Wilson from Convergent Coaching, a visionary coach and strategist who's helped firms rethink leadership, culture, and growth. And when she's not doing that, she's probably in the kitchen cooking or baking something amazing. Jen Wilson is always the person I talk to at conferences about everything non-accounting, which is which is unique, very unique in the space. And Randy Crabtree from Try Merit and Bridging the Gap Conference, co-founder, speaker, and advocate for purpose-driven accounting. And fun fact, a partner in a craft beer bar. Is that in New York City? Because if Daniel updates his book, he's going to need to give you a shout out.
Oh yeah.
No, he'll have to do a Chicago book for that one.
Okay, so that's in Chicago. So together they're going to unpack where the profession is heading, the challenges, opportunities, and mindset shifts we all need to embrace for what's coming next. So Daniel, the floor is yours. Enjoy.
All right. Cheers. Thanks very much. Just, Randy, I will include you. If there's a next edition of the book, I'll include you in it. People will be just like, wow, this bar is really far away. I didn't think it was this far out of town. But I thank you, David, for this chance to talk about the future of the profession that we're all super fascinated by and spend a lot of time thinking about it. We do want to make this much more of a broad conversation with everybody out there. So I encourage you, if you've got questions, comments, thoughts, anything like that, to put it in the chat. I've got some questions for our panelists here just to get the conversation going. But we'd love to take your questions, hear your thoughts about where the profession is going, some of the issues you think are important, some of the things you think the profession needs to figure out, some of the opportunities it's looking forward to. I've got, like I said, a couple of questions just to get to Randy and Jen talking. Not that they need much of a spur to talk about the profession because they love it. But let's start with one, and I'm only starting with this question because I kind of want to get it out of the way. I think, and you guys can jump in on this if you think I'm wrong about it, but I think the future of the profession is pretty bright. There's a lot of challenges going forward, but I think in general there are a lot of opportunities for accountants. And it's too easy to make it sound like, oh, things are bad, they're dark. So I want to get this question out of the way first. So that we can focus a little bit more on the bright side. I don't want to diminish the challenges or anything like that, because there are some and significant ones. But let's just start about, what are you guys most worried about when it comes to the accounting profession? When you look, you go, we got to figure this out, or this is a challenge we really need to deal with. Jen, do you want to go? You want to jump in first?
Sure. And I think you put this question first to get it out of the way, and you're giving it to me first because I'm a worrywart. And so that part of what I do is try to foresee the future and think about opportunities and threats. And then I try to talk about the potential threats and help us avoid falling into them. So what I'm most worried about right now is shifting our culture in the profession from a conscious capitalistic culture that has been focused on doing what's right for clients, what's best for people, what's best for the communities that we live in, and what's best for shareholders, all four. And this kind of influx of private equity and the outflux of baby boomer shareholders that's making it a little bit more focused on shareholder value only and shifting culture, not just in firms, but shifting culture in the profession, making it okay to be focused on my personal benefit versus the greater good. And that's probably one of my big worries. A little bit worried about also the alternative practice structures of these PE entities and the put your CPA in a drawer. And, I'm a big proponent of the value of the CPA and the importance of that credential. And I don't love seeing tax and accounting and consulting people told, don't use it in your LinkedIn, don't use it in your email signatures. That worries me. And then I'm pretty worried, just maybe an emerging worry is what's happening in our federal government, Department of Education, potentially unprofessionalizing accounting degrees. That's, I have a daughter who's graduating in 10 days or so with her nursing degree, her bachelor's in nursing. And believe me, she's pretty disappointed with what's happening there on the nursing side. So I really don't want to see that for these professions that take great skill and are super sought after and important.
And it's worth noting at that point, there's a sort of state by state movement to
Yes.
I don't call it delegitimize, but to sort of minimize the skill requirements for accounting. That's they just fought it off in Florida last year, and it's a continuing issue. There are definitely, this is one of the reasons why we had you go first on this one, because there are concerns about the nature of the profession, the integrity of the profession, the role of the profession, all that sort of stuff. Randy, how about you? What are you most worried about when it comes to accounting?
Well, first off, somehow I got kicked off, whether that was my internet at this hotel or not, but I'm glad I got back. That was a little scary for a minute
For a
there.
minute, we had two of you. It was great.
I saw that too. I'm like, what's going on here? So I don't think I missed much. I had a feeling I knew what Jen's answer was going to be, and I don't disagree with that. And all those points were valid. We can get into private equity more maybe at some point. We'll see if questions come on that, because I have some ideas on that where I think things are going. But for me, I think we're so busy. We have a lack of people in the profession. We've lost a lot of people. We know all the stats and everything. And Jen has a great, idea of everything that's going on there. But I think we get so busy with what we're doing and so busy with all the work and so busy with everybody we try to help, we just have this mindset that gets in our way. And so this mindset of, hey, if it's not me, who is it? I have to be the ones to help people. It has to be me. And we just put ourselves into this, this snowball effect where we're just working way too much and we're getting out of control. And then what that does, this is my biggest worry, I guess, in the profession, that we don't change this mindset. We don't change the way that we think about work. We don't adapt technology as fast as we should because, one, I'm going to retire in 5 years. Someone else will do that, or I don't have time. I'll keep doing this. And so for me, I can rant on this for a long time, but for me, it's a mindset thing. And we just have to step back and look at what we're doing and make it the best possible profession it could be. And that means that you are going to love what you're doing. You're going to enjoy every moment of it. And it is there. It's not behind this locked door. It can happen. And so if we can just step back from the busyness and really dig into what should I be doing rather than what does everybody else need me to do? What should I do? What do I love? Where's my passions lie? Who can I help the best? That's where we're going to be. And then just to go a bit further on that, this is the problem, I think, that we're seeing with there's a difference. There's two things. There's a reality of what's going on in the profession, and there's a perception of what's going on. And I think they're not in line. Now, it's somewhere in between there, but that perception, I think, is worse than reality. And that perception is, I think, why we're not getting the people in this profession as quickly and as often as we should. Because this is, uh, as a friend of mine, Jen Wilson, once said, and I quote her a lot on this: accountants are the guardians of the galaxy's economy, and that is just gives me chills every time I think about that. And sorry for if you were going to use that line, Jen. Sorry, but I
Oh, I
love that
know.
line.
I love it that you have it in on your heart. I love it.
Yeah. And so if this is the greatest profession out there, so if we
It
can just
is.
show that, and if we don't show that, that's, I guess, going back to the question, that's my biggest worry is we don't show that.
Well, the
Yeah.
interesting thing there is, right, that's the flip side. The flip side of being the guardians of the economy is the burden, the feeling like we have to do everything. You have to do everything the client might need. You have to do anything they ask you to do. You have to solve every problem. You have to solve it on your
Yes.
own. And that leads to the sort of the burnout issues that we're seeing. That sort of thing. Jen, sorry, I just want to jump in on that, but you were ready.
Well, I was just going to say something similar, but the other thing is that, we have this feeling, and I know I have it. I'm terrible about it, wanting to help anybody who asks for it. I have that feeling. We all do. And saying no is hard. It takes discipline. But the other piece of it is we've been handed down, like on tablets, our business model and
Yeah.
how it's supposed to work and who we're supposed to serve and how we should price and so the poor, successors and next generation, they're like stuck with something right this minute. And the thing they're stuck with isn't it's just old fashioned and outdated. And it, where Randy just went, you wanted us to talk about excitement too, Dan. You can build a practice that gives you joy. You can have work that gives you joy. You can work with people you actually like. You can say no to working with people that don't value you or you don't like them or your people don't like them. There's all these things we could do there, but we do have to shift from like believing these old models are all there is.
Yeah.
And so one thing that worries me is being stuck in that, like stuck in the old models and thinking, well, this is how our ancestors did it, and it's kind of
Right.
like you got to make change.
So,
Yep.
Jen, when
Well,
you just
that
said,
you go ahead.
sorry, Dan, when you just said tablets, I'm guessing the younger audience was thinking the iPad. I was thinking the Ten Commandments were
Right.
coming down
I
from the
was
mountain.
Yeah,
too.
So,
for
I
anybody
was,
under 30, tablets
but
were giant stone things that accountants chiseled,
I'm sorry. I'll have to come
ledger
up with a
books
new
onto.
word. Thank you. No doubt, Randy. No doubt. That's funny.
You mentioned it there, Jen. You mentioned change, and I think that's. I want to do two things. I want to call someone in the from the chat was talking about some of the issues they see coming forward. We also have a lot of AI assistants joining in the chat, announcing their presence. But Michael was talking about things he's seen as things to worry about. Is the challenges facing the profession, automating compliance work, shifting to advisory, configuring and managing a continually changing tech stack. And I wanted to bring that in because it ties into something you mentioned, change at the very end of your last comment. And I think for me, that's the big worry I see for the profession is not adapting to change regularly enough and quickly enough. I think that we're going to find, for roughly 100 years, the accounting profession did not go through a tremendous amount of change. There was changes now and then, but they came at a fairly sedate pace and were relatively easy to adapt to. And very few of them were monumental. Very few of them really changed the structure of the profession. I think we're going to see lots and lots and lots of changes. We're already seeing some of them come in. Lots and lots of changes to the structure of the profession. Jen, you talked about the need or the ability to change business models. In some cases, that's going to be a need to change business models. We talked about technology. We talked about the culture. In a time when tax season has expanded throughout the entire year, you can't work 120 hours every week, 52 weeks a year. There's going to need to be a huge amount of change going on in every aspect of the profession. And I think firms are not used to that. Nobody likes it, particularly the current leadership, which is a large portion of it is baby boomers who, Randy, you made the point, right? If I wait 5 years, I don't have to worry about this because I'm retiring. And that's bad for your heirs. It's bad for your successors. It's bad for the firm. It's bad for your clients. People need to be prepared to change, no matter how old you are, no matter how comfortable you are. You need to be ready to change. So I think someone just mentioned that they've
I
almost
know.
done
I
changing
saw
from
it.
VisiCalc to Lotus 123. That's awesome. But that was probably the last major change in accounting, right? Was the move to to digital spreadsheets. So I think that all these things require a profession that is ready to embrace change and to build a muscle for change, right? A way to understand what things do we need to change right now? What things can wait? What things do we need to change in 2 years? How is it going to impact us? What changes can we ignore? My favorite example, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about blockchain in the context of AI, right? Saying, well, blockchain was going to change everything, but then it disappeared. AI is not going to do that, but still, to be able to pick and choose and say what changes are important to me now, I think is going to be that whole discipline of change management is going to be a major issue for accounting firms, in part because they're not used to it. They're not used to having to change. So that's sort of
Dan, I have something on that.
Go.
We're doing a whole bunch of work on change. People are inviting us to come and share what we would call change science or change technology. And at the most, like if you say, what is one fundamental thing that has to be right to make change glide and fluid and fast? Communication. Okay. And what is the Achilles heel of our profession? Communication. People say all the time to me, I didn't go to school for like writing or, public speaking or for selling. I went to school because I was attracted to debits and credits and the numbers and business and they really, so that's a thing that we have to recognize. We can say we have to change faster, but in order to get good at it, you have to have some communications resources, whether you hire them from the outside, use contractors. AI is going to help with communications. We just had a conversation yesterday in a webinar. Somebody said, hey, I wonder if ChatGPT could generate benefit statements from features lists, because we were talking about like what's in it for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll be trying that, because if it will, there's these things that could really enable us. But change, we're not going to get good at it unless we figure out how to communicate it. It's not just the messaging, it's the cascade of communications, it's the timing. Who do you include in the change process? A lot of people disclude laggards or objectors, and they don't include them in the change planning process. And as a result, change gets rolled out and there's all these objections and all these concerns and nobody's prepared to handle them. There's all these mistakes we make in change, and we're making them every day. And there's some very good science on how to do it that you can follow. So I think that's a muscle, like you said, that we can develop.
And it's,
and the beauty of it is, go ahead.
I was just because I'm old and I'll forget, so I'm going to go with this.
At any point, you can jump in at any point before you forget anything. So, yeah.
So what you were saying, Jim, the laggards, and Simon Sinek has a really good talk where he talks about the bell curve. You've probably seen that, and you've got the early adopters, and I'm sure it's not his, obviously, but I've seen him talk about it. But yeah, and so so my question was to you. Sorry, Dan, now I'm taking your role. But my question was to you, Jen, when you're dealing with these firms about change, do you try to help identify who these early adopters are? Because you can get them on board, then you can start the process, and then these laggards will see, okay, yes, this is beneficial. This is going to make a difference. This is going to make us more efficient.
Yeah, we even have an assessment we have them take when we're teaching, so they can figure out where they fall most likely on most changes. So they can know, here's sort of the benefits of my change style, but here are the drawbacks. And then, most firms, if we were putting together a committee to drive a specific change, they know, they almost would say, we're not inviting him because he will shut down everything. Well, that's exactly the guy we have to invite. That, you know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, there are ways to assess that. And it's Jeffrey Moore, I think, who really developed that, the bell curve with the 5 definitions. He kind of picked up Everett Rogers' work and took it a little further. Malcolm Gladwell talked about the tipping point, which is a super cool thing to pay attention to, because that's, you're really going when the change hits that tipping point and at the top of the curve. And how can we get there faster? That's the thing that we all have to do. And people talk about change fatigue. Well, it's fatiguing because it takes so long.
Right.
And I have to go to so many places and try to figure it out. And I have to ask so many questions and nobody has answers. And, there's all this stuff that wears you out that actually good leadership and management execution can make it less upsetting and irritating.
It's fatiguing because we're doing it badly. right? That's the thing. If you're good at it,
Yes.
and the beauty of it is
Yes.
once you learn how to do it, right? Again, that's a muscle. You could just every change that comes along, and there will be changes everywhere. Everything, what new technology you want to adopt, how you're going to deal with AI, how you're going to move to advisory, build new advisory services, the change management skills, the communication skills, the assessment skills, the planning skills that go into all that are going to be applicable, 99% of them, to every change you have to do. So I mean, it's sort of once you get it, you're going to be ahead of most people because change management is not a skill that a lot of people have. Um, Excellent. All right. Like I said, I wanted to get that out of the way. It's important. We're probably going to keep recurring to some of these. At some point, we'll take a couple of minutes maybe to talk about PE and its impact because I think that's on a lot of people's minds. But let's move from being what we're worried about to talk about what we're excited about. What are we looking forward to in the profession? What's cool about it? And again, I want to encourage people to put into their thoughts in the chat or any questions you may have. I'd love to know what you're excited about. Jen, you went first on what was most worrying, so I'm going to let Randy go first on what he's most excited about.
So this might not be a surprise to you, but what I'm excited about is the people starting to embrace the concept that we don't have to deal with burnout. People starting to embrace the concept that we can build a firm that people love being part of. That we don't have this idea that we have to sit at our desk for 80 hours a week. People starting. This is starting. There's a lot of work to go, but people starting to realize that my value isn't the hours I put in, but my value is the outcome that I deliver, the solutions I deliver, the answers that I give, the satisfaction that I get from seeing this client that I'm working with go from here to here. And that doesn't mean the hours I put in. That means the knowledge that I share with them. And so that is, I'm seeing that more. I'm seeing that, and I don't know, maybe it's just some of the firms I hang out with. I feel like I'm seeing that at the smaller firm level faster than the larger firm level. I want to see it across the board. I think we'll get there. I think that people will dictate that because I want to be part of this rather than whatever this other thing is. And so as people start to dictate that this is where I want to be part of this, that'll make the change. That'll continue happening. So I can go on about 20 of these, but right now I'm going to start with that one. But I'm also going to say I'm also super excited for this profession because my phone was just ringing and it was my son, and my son is actually getting involved in the accounting profession right now. So I'm very excited about that. So,
Excellent.
Yep.
Very cool. From the macro to the micro, I'm not sure which is which, but when he takes control of the AICPA in 35 years, we'll know what it was. Jen, all right, Randy got two things that he's excited about. So if you want to grab two, what are you looking at?
Well, he stole one of mine. I have a list, so he stole one of mine, which I would kind of put around joy instead of grind. Like
Good.
just recognizing joy is absolutely possible. And it's not just a theory. We have all kinds of firms in this country who have built something special and awesome, and they're experiencing this. They're causing it. And I guess I'm most excited about the fact that we're 25 years in business, developing leadership and management skills, and having people think about their behavior and their mindset and who they're being and how generous they're being and whether they're being inspiring and all those things. And we're just starting to see all the people that have gotten that from my firm and other firms that do the same kind of development of the soft stuff. Those people that have been getting that development are becoming managing partners. They're becoming service line leaders. They're stepping into the whole partner groups are all developed in these leadership skills. The people that didn't have them are retiring. We're slowly attriting that out, and we're becoming more of an emotionally intelligent, leading population. And I can see it, and I can feel it, and I'm excited about it. So that's one. And then, it would be insane not to say AI. I have to say it. And it's true. And it's funny because I've been using the VisiCalc Lotus example. So when you type that in there, it made me laugh because people are like, AI is going to ruin us, and maybe on the macro, like real macro, environmentally, and like, I don't know. I don't know what will happen. I don't know if AI will decide who gets medical treatment soon. And that could be yucky. So there's some big picture scary things that I'm not going to say I'm excited about, and we can have a whole nother session on that. But the stuff I am excited about is that I was there when the microcomputer came in, and people before them were using 10 keys and green sheets and pencils and whiteout and typewriters. By the way, they had the typing pool and stuff like that. And I was very young then. I'm not that old, but I was there and I was helping automate. I was in technology, and I remember when VisiCalc and then Lotus came, and the resistance. I'm not gonna. I can add these numbers in my head, and I'm not gonna let some system do it. It'll make us stupid if we can't add these numbers in our heads. And I was like, it will not make you stupid, and it won't take away your work. I promise. Let's do it. And nobody would say Excel and automation has taken away accounting's work. If anything, it just made it so we didn't have to do those mundane tasks, and we could work at a higher level. It created us as higher level knowledge workers and spend more time with clients. And so the same revolution is going to happen with AI. It is going to be such a game changer in bringing skills like communication skills to us when we don't have them, but also just stripping stuff out of the work that we don't need to do, so we can be more advisory. We can look people in the eyeballs and make our relationships deeper. Randy said we want to help people. That's one of the worries, is we say yes to too many things. We're so help oriented. But in truth, so much of the work we're doing is just pushing compliance deliverables. We're not helping people. We're not in there saying, what are your hopes, dreams? And I'm not saying no one's helping people, but we are missing so many opportunities to say, what are your hopes, dreams, fears, and doubts, client? How can we strategize and plan to do the things you want to do with your life or with your business? Instead, we're like, hey, I need that K1, that's all I need, and then we're done, and then we move on. We don't talk any further to that client. And I used a tax metaphor, but I think that same churning of deliverables and compliance is surface level work, and AI is going to let us go deeper, and I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Very cool.
Agreed.
Very cool. I'm going to throw with the thing I'm excited about, a couple of things. One, very quickly, to build on what Randy was talking about in terms of changing the ability to change, the ability to do things differently. I think accounting firms everywhere have permission to structure themselves differently. Some of this is from not just the influx of PE, but PEs bring in all kinds of other partners that are allowing people to structure firms in different ways, to fund them in different ways, to capitalize them. People are looking at firms and saying, I can build a traditional accounting firm, or I can build more of a lifestyle firm. I'm sure Darren was talking about that earlier in the day. The ability to say, look, things the way we did things before isn't the way we have to do them now. Now, at all points, and Jen, I don't want to overly praise PE. It's created an opportunity. People need to be careful about how they take it up. But the point is, the profession has permission to change a lot of things that people would have thought were just natural. In sort of the same way we change. Well, you don't have to wear a jacket and tie or a suit and tie to work anymore. It's fine. Or you can work from home when you need to. These are important changes that are going on. We don't have to bill by the hour, et cetera. There's permission to change all of these older models in all of these different ways. People just need to take it up and take advantage of it. The other thing I'm excited about, and I just throw this in because it will come back in a couple of years, is ESG work. I think that's going to be just on a very practical level. I think that's going to be a huge boom for accounting firms that take it up. I think it's going to be an enormous area of work. So just throw that as a thought. I do want to. Someone in the chat had a good question about the balance between sharing knowledge and getting paid for advisory services. Randy, I think you're ready to jump on this one.
Yes, I was ready to jump on that
Right.
because this is very. I'm very passionate about that exact thing, because there is a balance there, but I don't know how well I balance the line. I think I've done it well. So just as a quick story, I was a generalist for a long time. Started in the public accounting in the late 80s. I ran my firm until 2006 when I sold it, and I started Trimerit in 2007. So Trimerit's a specialty firm. We do specialty tax work. Now, I built that firm. I didn't. There's a lot of people surrounding me. I'm just part of the ride with everybody else. But based on this premise of sharing knowledge, I've done this from day one. I've been out there educating people on really complex topics: R&D tax credits, cost segregation, now renewable energy credits, these kind of things. And I've always found that by sharing your knowledge, you do two things. One, you educate the profession, help them identify. Now I'm talking different a little bit because I'm helping CPA firms, accounting firms
Right.
get to understand what this is. But I think you could translate this to your clients too. I think it creates opportunities for growth, for revenue, because if when I share my knowledge, they realize I can't do this. Randy just helped me identify all these opportunities I have in my business now, the accounting firm business, to bring these advisory type service, this service that's going to bring money back into clients' businesses uh, by teaming up with somebody. And Jen mentioned earlier about teaming up and outsourcing some things, and maybe you don't have to do everything. You maybe have to understand that things exist, but you don't have to do it. And that took me, man, I feel like I'm going to go for a while here because this is so passionate to me. That took me forever to realize. When I ran my firm as a generalist, I thought I had to do everything. I thought I had to know everything. And I knew this much of what I needed to know probably, but I didn't realize it. And when I realized that it's okay to start a niche practice and then share that knowledge, and that's not going to be giving it away for free. And I understand the question, and I'm probably not exactly answering it, but I think if you can show you, I'm a big proponent of everybody having a niche expertise. I just think that is so important. And when you do that and you share that niche knowledge, business is going to come to you. It's going to happen because they see your passion, they see your excitement, they see your knowledge, they understand that you're the one that I need to go to. So you're not going to share, hey, I'm going to do your tax return for free, and then I'm hoping you have something else. No, I'm going to share, this are the things I can help you do that are going to save this amount of money for you. And this is what I can do, to increase your EBITDA. This is what I can do. When you share that knowledge, I think business comes back to you. So I'm a big proponent of knowledge sharing.
Yeah. My take on this, particularly with a client perspective, as opposed to sharing with other accountants, from a client perspective, is I don't think if you had all the time in the world, you could never share enough knowledge for them to suddenly not need you.
No.
There's you spend all
Right.
day in this, and they don't want to know it, right? That's just the thing. They love the ideas and the information you bring them, and they may learn some of the things you bring them, particularly if it's related to their industry or their business. But even still, you're always going to be ahead of them, always going to have more stuff for them to share. And the day you don't, is the day the profession doesn't have extra information to bring to people, right? Then that's the day the profession is maybe no longer useful. It's never going to come.
Not going to
So it's
happen.
not even
Well,
worth thinking about, right? Jen, go ahead.
yeah, and we teach client advisory skills, and one of the things we teach is how to build coaching packages for clients. How to build in additional advisory services on top of the compliance services, certain number of calls a year, or certain number of in-person visits, or whatever it might be, not just unlimited help. And unlimited help for free for the cost of the tax return or for the cost of the CAS. So I'm with you on knowledge sharing, and I also really believe you can share knowledge all day long. And what separates the women from the girls is, and the men from the boys is the whole idea that most people won't implement it. They're listening to the ideas, but they won't implement it, sadly. So if you implement, you're winning. But we do see too many people giving away a lot of time for free.
Yes.
And a lot of things outside of scope. So scoping tighter, scoping more specifically, and offering add-on packages. And all the people we've ever taught to do that, they're just selling those add-on packages. Clients just sign the engagement letter and check that box and buy those additional services, and then they're getting paid for that time. So then you have to schedule it and make sure the client's getting value for it, so they'll renew it the next year. I mean, that's the next hard part, but it can be done totally. And the other thing is, Dan, I was thinking about what you said. PE is giving us permission to change our business models, or to do these things differently, or to think about our firms differently, or become a lifestyle firm. And I do think that they are causing more of that conversation. I also think to some degree we're giving them credit for something. I think it's next gen talent who've been calling for this the whole time, and they're rising to leadership. I mean, I think they're the ones. It doesn't take me selling controlling interest in my company for me to make these changes. And I don't need all that capital to say, let's start selling coaching packages to the clients. Or, there's so many changes we could make that don't require a huge capitalization and a change in culture and control, So anyway, but I also know that, anytime you have a mix up kind of a new influx of competitors and different voices, it makes everybody think differently, and that's not bad.
Right. Yeah, it's just a matter of remembering the things that made the profession special as you go through all these
Oh
changes,
my
right? Yeah,
gosh.
if you're
Yeah.
changing a million things, but you got to remember what's the core stuff that you can't change, and that's certainly crucial.
Yeah.
Excellent. Someone's Michael's again got a great comment in the thing there about how to manage that, and particularly when you come to CAS, getting paid to implement the changes that that come from the knowledge you share is the way to
Yeah.
go. It's going to be exciting
I
stuff.
like it.
All right, wow, we have we have blown through almost all of our time, which
Yeah.
is we could be talking a lot more. Listen, we're all going to meet up at Randy's bar in about. It'll take me 5 hours to get there, but I'll see.
I was
Wait
going to
for
say,
me.
yeah.
Don't start without me. But let's. I do want to sort of wrap it up maybe with a final thought about. Opportunities you think accountants aren't paying enough attention to, things you see in the future that they can jump on and really succeed with. Jen, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I think right this minute, it's a spongy economy. People are wondering, are we in a recession without a declaration? There's some uncertainty happening, to say the
Right.
least. And we're in kind of a strange place with M&A roll-ups and PE. So talent inside our profession and inside the US, with the exception of 2 industries, are job hugging, not hopping. They're hugging. So our people are staying, and I'm afraid, another fear, that we're all saying that means everything's good at our firms because no one's quitting. And I would tell you,
Yeah.
no, it means everything's uncertain in the marketplace, so people
Mm.
aren't quitting. Well, you might say, well, you're not talking about an opportunity, and I am, because for firms that want to remain independent in particular, but really all firms, this is a perfect time to go reach in to competitors that don't have a great culture, don't offer a really great path for people, where their people are not moving, but probably would like to move, but aren't searching or looking or putting their resume out right now, and reach in and grab that, especially specialty talent that you've been looking for. And some
Yeah.
firms are like, well, we're not really going to load up on hiring because we're not sure what the economy will do. Hey, man, we've been so tight for talent for so long, and this won't last. This is a short breather. We have a breather right now on people. And I would love it if firms would go out and grab a hold of and woo and attract those great people that they need in those specialty areas, especially. This is a perfect time. Some of the biggest firms in the top 50 have caved and gone into something else. And those
Yeah.
firms, a lot of their senior managers and their income partners didn't vote for that change. And those
Yep.
people could be gettable right now. And clients too, incidentally. There's a lot of clients that didn't want to be part of this bigger thing, or didn't want to be audited by PE or whatever. And you could say they're not being, but I think it's a good time to catch some clients too.
Yep, absolutely. And I would throw this. We did just completed our year ahead survey of what firms expect for next year, and it's fascinating when you ask them, how do you expect your workload to grow and how do you expect your capacity to grow? And there's a huge discrepancy, right? They expect 2/3 of them expect they expect 2/3 growth in their workload, but only about 2/5 growth in their capacity.
Oh.
So this is the time, as you say, good time to get out and find some staff. Even if you don't think you have the work for them, you will soon, because there's more work than there are people to do it. So an
And
excellent
that's
point.
what drives burnout, Randy's burnout right there.
Yeah.
It's called
Yep.
simple math, which we do as accountants. So we got to do better than that.
Thanks. All right, Randy, what opportunities you think firms should be taking advantage of?
So I got like 17 running through my head at the same time. And one of them it was kind of similar, not similar, but it tied into what Jen was saying. So I'm going to go with that right now. And I think, and I alluded to it when I talked about what we do and all this, but niche specialization. When I take accountants, I'm not even just saying accounting firms. I'm saying an accountant, somebody that's going to work somewhere. If you're in a firm and you find yourself smiling and having a great time and having joy in what you're doing when you're working on a specific client, that, let's say it's an industry, in the restaurant industry, and you love that, but that's just like 1% of the client base you work on.
Mm.
Well, there's a reason that you gravitate towards that one. You're enjoying that one. You're having fun with that one. why don't you try to bring the next client in that's a restaurant then too, and see if it wasn't just a fluke and that you just love that industry? Or maybe it's a service. Maybe you just love dealing with state and local taxes. You're a salt. You've dabbled in it, but that's not where you're spending your time. You're told, hey, you're working on this. Well, no, tell people I want to work on that. I want to start spending more time in salt. I want to spend more time in 1040s rather than 1120s, whatever it is. If there's one area that you just find that you enjoy more, don't make that a small part of what you're doing. Make that a large part of what you're doing. Lean into that. Make as much noise as you can to let everybody know this is where you want to spend your time. And so I think we're afraid that, hey, we have to do what everybody else says. No, do what you want to do, and let everybody know this is the path you want to go down.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think the ability to move away from the things you don't like, whatever they may be, and at every level, not just as firms, but as accountants and so on, the ability to change things is greater than it's ever been before. Your voice, whether as an employee or as a partner or as a firm as a whole, has never had greater resonance than it does now. So the ability to change is there for you if you want to take it. With that, we've run out of time. David has popped back in. I should say thanks to Jen and Randy, and also thanks to David and Jetpack Workflow for giving us this opportunity to have this conversation. Like I said, we'll be meeting in Randy's bar in 5 hours. But for now,
Yeah,
David, I'll
absolutely.
turn it over
Let's thank Randy, Daniel, Jennifer, typing in the chat. Thank them for being here. Dee has posted up the speaker profile so you can connect with them, continue the conversation. If Daniel, if you do meet up at that bar, hit the record button. You all, I think, have a future podcast coming together here. Really great conversation, really great trio. So type it in the chat. Couple things. We're going to do a giveaway. There's this conference called Bridging the Gap. We have a ticket for it. We will be doing a giveaway because Randy is here, so we could celebrate that. So stay tuned for that. A couple things. Give a shout out to Dee. She is behind the scenes pulling all the strings, including me, of when to show up and how to show up and what to read and all these things. So give a shout out to Dee. Thank you so much. Big shout out to our sponsors, Jetpack Workflow, Growing Your Firm, Podcast, Anchor, OnPay, and Actually Finance. Be sure to check those out. Oh, and Vinyl, of course. Be sure to check out our sponsors. And before we do the giveaway, we have a question for you all, and that is, how did this event go for you? So we're dropping that into the chat right now. Dee is going to link up a note. She said, you cannot do the giveaway until we post the survey question. So go in. It's 10 seconds, yay or nay. Go ahead and type it in. Simon, appreciate the feedback. So open up the doc, give us a bunch of feedback. We're going to pour it into the next one and the next one and the next one. Dee, I think we made it without any technical challenge except for the breakout rooms. That's pretty good. And I did
proud of us
earlier by saying, no, there hasn't been a Wi-Fi issue. And so we're running strong.
Yeah. I think though, David, maybe you're responsible for why Randy was kicked out earlier.
That's it. So that was the
what
second
happened.
one. I thought that was a feature, not a bug, because I saw two Randys. And I was like, great.
Twice as much Randy.
Twice as much Randy. So fill out the survey.
Scary.
Following up with a bunch of links. Thank you to this community. It's been forever. We've never kind of brought this community together to do this online summit. So thank you for hopping on. And last but not least, Dee, if you're seeing some responses come in and you feel comfortable enough doing the giveaway, let's go ahead and do the drum roll. If you need more responses before we trigger the giveaway, let me know, and we can ask people to fill it out first.
No, I trust people will tell us. Maybe I love the feedback more than David does. It helps us to make this even better for next time. And feedback is always a navigation tool. So we love it. Tell us everything.
That's right.
I do. I have a winner for you. Do you guys want to know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that would be
Katrina Coltis.
Katrina,
Coltis.
congratulations. I will say this. I was at Bridging the Gap 2 years ago, missed it last year. I think it'd be awkward if I don't come up to the next one now. But it was the I think the most visceral manifestation of what the Growing Your Firm community could have felt like. And this was a lot of work. So Randy, kudos to you. There's no secret physical Growing Your Firm conference here, but I would walk around that room and I would see so many of our guests that we had on the pod I never got to see in person. So it's just a really cool event. I think the energy and the emotionality behind it is amazing. So look forward to that, Katrina. Congratulations
Congrats.
on the ticket. Cool. With that, I think we're going to close out. We do have the vendor hall open. So if you haven't been able to connect with somebody you wanted to connect with, go there. It's in the Hey Summit page. Fill out the survey in the meantime. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be following up with replays. Final thank you to Randy, Daniel, Jennifer, and of course, Dee. We will see you all on the internet. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Thursday and take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.